stars, blue stars there. Service members that I have found served in both major theaters of action, the Pacific and in the European theater. They were in every major battle in those areas. Guadalcanal, Saipan, Tinian, Okinawa, Iwo Jima. De La Howe people were there in those battles. Several served in heavy bombers flying over Germany. One actually served on a submarine and had 5 war patrols off the coast of Japan. And that submarine was depth charged and was involved in direct battle with the Japanese. Several served in the Battle of the Atlantic on merchant vessels and escort carriers. One was a glider pilot that flew a glider into the landing at Normandy, and then flew another glider into the Battle of Arnhem. And if you have gliders, these things are just canvas and are plywood. And these things were death traps. But this guy survived and flew, retired as a lieutenant colonel, and he's buried in Arnhem. One served on the heavy cruiser of the USS Omaha, and several served on attack transports. We had some in the Battle of Alaska. Remember, the Japanese took 2 islands up in the Aleutian chain of Alaska, a horrible place. We had De La Howe people up there serving there in that battle. One of them was on a ship that had a hull number, but they nicknamed it the USS Frostbite. We had one alumni, Dr. Calvin Fowler, from this school. From 1938 to 46, he was a launch coordinator at NASA. He was also a Navy veteran. And then we have some others that I want to mention. In the Greenville News is a very prominent picture about lessons that De La Howe saved a sailor. This sailor paid a visit to Mrs. A.F. McKissick. And if any of you remember the history on that, Ms. McKissick was a very formidable, influential force for good in this state. And he paid her a visit. And Ms. McKissick, when she was a member of the board here, helped establish a swimming pool. This young man was taught to swim in that swimming pool. And that training saved his life when the Germans torpedoed his ship. And he came and found Miss McKissick to thank her for it. And it says the tributes from our recent guest paid to Mr. Geddes, who was the superintendent, the kindness and thoughtfulness of it. The only thing this article didn't do with the Greenville News, it didn't give us the name of the guy that was on the ship. Now let's look at some gold stars. Now I want to tell you, researching these things is hard to do. Because first, I'm operating off of the first thing was this article that listed all the names in 1943. Then I looked at the census records for 1920 and 1930. All I'm in is in World War II. I have not gotten to World War I. I have not gotten to Korea. I have not gotten to Vietnam or Iraq. And I need your help. And if you know of those, please pass them to Ron and send them to me so I can put them in this list. This is a work in progress. I have one man. I'm not sure about it. And I can say the name matches, the time matches, but I'm just not sure. But at the start of the war, there may have been a De La Howe student, a former De La Howe student, that was on the Arizona when Pearl Harbor was bombed. He was from Anderson, we know. He had his nephew with him. They both joined the Navy, and they were both on the Arizona. We don't say they're killed, they're still serving. The Arizona is still a commissioned vessel at the bottom of the harbor. Ernest Horn. Ernest Horn was in the Philippines. And we need a MIA flag here too, Ron, because we've got several MIAs. Ernest Horn was killed in the Philippines. Nobody ever found his body. Probably in the Bataan Death March by the Japanese. He's missing in action. There is one memorial to him in a monument in the Philippines. But he's not the only one. He was missing on Bataan. And also that Horn family had two other brothers that went here that served. The Horn family paid a debt to this country. Johnny Howe. Johnny Howe was captured as a prisoner of war in the Philippines, missing in action. Probably again killed with the Japanese. You see the Bataan Death March, when they took them as a capture from Corregidor to Bataan, they marched them to prison camps. If they fell, they bayoneted them and left them by the side of the road. James Mixon was also lost in the Philippines, but he was in the Army Air Corps, the Air Force, and was in the 345th Bomb Group. Again, missing in action and possibly lost at sea. William Baxter, Army Air Corps, again, missing. Reported dead by capture, again, in the Philippines. We had a big group that volunteered here in 39 and 40 that went to the Army in the Philippines. Marion Clark, 81st Division, 320th Infantry Regiment, missing in action, killed in 1944 in World War II. European battle. I'm sorry, no, he's in Manila. He's another one in the Philippines, was captured as a prisoner. Oliver Coffey. Coffey was on the aircraft carrier, the USS Lipscomb Bay. An escort carrier, a little jeep carrier, a little carrier that carried a few airplanes that covered convoys and things like that. He was a Navy ordnanceman, aircraft ordnanceman, bomb loader. He loaded bombs and took care of the ordnance on the aircraft. The Japanese submarine torpedoed the ship and hit it right in the ordnance area, missing in action. Ensign John McMinn. Ensign McMinn went from here to Notre Dame, was commissioned in the Navy, was on a night torpedo bomber that was lost at sea off the coast of Rhode Island in 1944. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I don't know who came up with the night torpedo bomber concept, but that wasn't a good one. Torpedo bombers fly at 25 feet above the water, approaching a ship, drop a torpedo, pull up, and hope it hits the ship. And doing that at night, you can imagine how dangerous that is. But McMinn. Cecil Baxter, listed under Clarendon County. He was a Barnwell County resident. Wounded and killed in Sicily in 1943. He was the first man from Barnwell County to be killed in the war. Again, Delaware. Edgar A. Allen, I found this one yesterday. He was in the 1930 census at Delaware. He was killed in action in France in August the 1st of 1944. And this is just the start, folks. I need your help. And this is something that's going to go along. Is it perfect? No. And to have that depth of service and that amount of blood shed from a place with so few people is amazing and needs to be honored. And I cannot do anything but applaud the effort. I'll continue the research, get me names, get me things that's hard to do, but I will get it together as much as we can. Hopefully, maybe by your next reunion, we will have something really special for you. But again, you should be proud. You should be very proud. Some of you here were in the 45 era. Some of those men and women served while they were in there. And I know there's women that served here too, because I've seen pictures of some of the old alumni things of alumni with women in uniform. So we've got to find them as well. So I want to ask your help and thank you for your support on doing this. This is something I just enjoy doing as a veteran. I want to make sure that this sacrifice is recognized. Because you see, these guys that stood up, they wrote a check to the United States government that I would give up to and including my life to serve this nation. And that, and they gave of their youth, and they came home. Again, thank you, and I look forward to working with you on this thing. I know there's some amazing more stories out there, but any help you can give me, anything you know of people in the community, let us know. That's how we got our other stuff from the other schools in which I work. Ron, thank you.